There is one reason, one cause, one catalyst that has led many prior Trump voters to abandon the guy. And there is one word, the word is democracy. And I'm going to give you some examples. My question as we look at some of these clips from Republicans against Donald Trump, Republican voters against Trump, the question I have for you is how many of these folks are there? Let's start with Matt from Oklahoma, who says, I don't know if we survive 4 more years of Trump, and the democracy we have is what has to be protected. Take a listen.
The greatest, most immediate threat is to the democracy. We can survive 4 years of Biden. I don't know if we can survive 4 years of Trump. Hi, I'm Matt. I'm from Oklahoma. I'm a registered Republican, and I did vote for Trump. It wasn't the best decision I think I've ever made. In fact, I think it's one of my poorest decisions I've ever made, but that was the decision made, and I got to own it. The scariest thing about his second Trump term is that there will be no guardrails. And he's already insinuated things that he would do, things that would be threatening to our democracy at home, threatening to our power in terms of global standing, economic, political, military. I think we may be witnessing, if we don't check ourselves, the death knell of our democracy. We've got to find commonality. We can have disagreements in terms of how we want to make this nation great, but we got to stop making each other enemies. And he's been the key factor in that. So
listen, we all know that this is not the normal Republican voter. This is a guy capable of an introspection, self-reflection, self-criticism that many of these folks aren't. But he gets to the main thing here, democracy. Eileen from Mississippi also explains the dictator stuff is a straw too far. Like how I mixed metaphors there. Let's listen to what Eileen has to say.
I believe that we're a country that we work together with the Democrats, the Republicans, and independents to make what's best for our country and best for everybody in our country. And I don't see that happening with Donald Trump. I live in Diamond Head, Mississippi, and I am a Republican, a longtime Republican, and I will not vote for Trump this year. The insurrection, I truly believe that he was a part of that and caused a lot of the things that truly saddened me. Trump tends to be a bully, somewhat of a dictator, trying to be king of the United States. And that really scares me a whole lot. You know, someone mentioned this once, and they said, he's like a toddler. And, you know, that.
And of course, we've heard the analogies to being a toddler and Trump's preference of pooping in the sandbox so it gets shut down for the day rather than just going home when it's time for him to go home. Lastly, we will look at a statement from George from Utah, who again says, look at the risks here for the country. Trump, remember, says, if Biden wins, we'll have no more country. Some of these Republican voters seem to think that Trump's the threat to the country, not Biden.
I compare President Trump with some of the great leaders that we honor and respect from history, Washington, Lincoln. Donald Trump is not of the same. He is not a great leader. My name's George. I'm from Santa Clara, Utah, lifelong Republican, always voted Republican, voted for Donald Trump twice. But as I look at what's ahead of us and what's in the potential risks associated with the upcoming election, I can't vote for Donald Trump. I think he's too much of a risk for our country, our democracy, our way of life. And because of what I observed and understood what happened, the Capitol, the attempt to overthrow the election, the type of a person that he has demonstrated himself to be with the actions that are pending against him, the way I believe he's hijacked the Republican Party and is taking them in a direction that can no longer support.
So listen, these folks are right. These folks are willing to go beyond being Republicans. They're still Republicans, but they recognize that will I get a chance to vote for any other Republican if we don't make sure that this one time the guy who happens to be the Republican candidate doesn't win? So there's two questions here. The first question is, how many of these folks are there? And the second question is, where are they? And the reason I say that is, Matt, we heard from 3 voters here. Matt from Oklahoma, a red state that will go red, that Joe Biden has no chance to win. Eileen from Mississippi, a red state that will be that Joe Biden has no chance to win whatsoever. And a red state, Utah, George from Utah, a red state that Biden won't win. So not only might we depend on enough of these voters in general, but we might depend on enough of these voters in the states that actually are swing states, which could go to Biden but might not. Places like Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, places that, yes, Joe Biden won in 2020, and he may well need to win again. Of course, more optimistically, if there's enough of these folks in Florida, well, if Biden wins Florida, this thing is basically over. But that is not likely to be the situation. So good for these folks. But the question is, are there enough of them that we can make sure that the outcome is the right one in November? Many people in the audience know I speak multiple languages. I first learned Spanish when I was born in Argentina. Then I learned English. I learned some Hebrew in Hebrew school. I learned French in junior and high school. I am no stranger to the language learning process. And one of the most useful tools I've ever used is the app called Babbel. The way our sponsor Babbel teaches you languages truly works, and it works fast. Instead of a bunch of silly quizzes and games like a lot of the other apps, Babbel is designed by real people for real conversations. All of Babbel's tips and tools for learning a new language are approachable. They're rooted in real life situations and conversations. Babbel's bite-sized 10-minute lessons are just perfect for me. I can do it on the go, do it during a lunch break. It really sticks fast. Babbel was able to help me feel ready for my recent trip to France. I'm using Babbel to brush up on Italian and German just for fun. Studies from Yale, Michigan State University, and others prove Babbel is better. One study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is like a full semester of language at college. My audience gets 55% off, 55, at babbel.com/Pacman. Rules and restrictions may apply. The link is down below.